I was invited to come to a service to mark World Environment Day, and it was in a place called Tromsø. Tromsø is in Norway, in the Arctic, and the service was held in what they call the Arctic Cathedral. It was a wonderful, wonderful service, but next to the pulpit, I was going to be preaching. Next to the pulpit, they had a huge block of ice that was melting, more or less like, don't go on for too long, this thing is going to melt. But it was a wonderful visual aid of when we speak about global warming. But then they also had 3 women. One was a woman bishop from Greenland. The other was somebody from, I think, Papua New Guinea. And the third was a young woman from Nigeria. And they were speaking about what was happening to them in terms of global warming. And the woman bishop from Greenland said, you know, the ice in our part of the world has become so thin that we can no longer skate over it to do anything really, but to go out in search of the animals that we hunt. And the bears are drowning because they walk on this thin ice and it cracks and they fall through into the water and they drown. The woman from Papua New Guinea was saying that as a result of this melting of the ice cap, the sea was rising, the level of the sea was rising, and a lot of the water was flooding their island, and the trees were dying because of the salt water. The young woman from Nigeria spoke about how the conflict was resulting in their communities because they were fighting over grazing land. Pasture was becoming increasingly taken up, and so you are finding, that people are beginning to fight over resources that are reducing. And we who are believers have to keep remembering that one of the wonderful things that the Bible says about you and me is you and I are the stand-ins for God, and we are stewards. We are meant, on behalf of God, to look after the resources that God has given us as God's representatives, to care as God would care. It's incredible, the privilege that we have, and the high dignity and responsibility. Our world is literally in our hands.